Why the green hair on Joker? Oh, well, it truly is part of the Joker's makeup. You already know green hair. I am no longer a extremely good pupil, without a doubt, of the Batman comedian strip. However, I apprehend that the Joker were given the green hair because in one of the first strips that he regarded in making his escape from Batman, he dove right into a river that changed into full of a certain chemical that became his hair. Inexperienced, so from then on, he's had inexperienced hair. He dated a number of Hollywood's most lovely ladies, he danced with stars, and charmed everybody he met. But Cesar Romero, the person who performed the Joker on TV, had a secret so massive it can have ended his career for all time. Now, decades after his dying, the truth is ultimately out. Hollywood's best Latin lover become residing lie. The man who never married wasn't just too busy for romance, he changed into trapped in a jail of his own making. Cesar Romero become born on February 15th, 1907 in New York City. His dad and mom, Cesar Julio Romero Sr. and Maria Mantilla, were rich Cuban immigrants. His father was a success sugar importer and 122 machinery exporter. His mom turned into a skilled singer and pianist. Their family changed into part of the Cuban-American elite, dwelling in luxury with servants of their Manhattan domestic. They often attended high society gatherings, and young Caesar grew up surrounded by way of wealth and have an effect on his circle of relatives' history, turned into simply as super as their fortune. His mom, Maria Mantilla, had a strong connection to José Martí, the Cuban poet, and modern leader Martin by no means formally claimed to be her father, however. He treated her like a daughter and performed a major function in her upbringing. His legacy accompanied Caesar at some stage in his lifestyles, adding to the mystique of his history. Romero's early education reflected his privileged repute. He attended the Riverdale Country School within the Bronx and the Collegiate School in Manhattan. Though he had get right of entry to the satisfactory education lecturers, in no way fascinated him. He became extra drawn to socializing and performing. He took part in a school production of The Merchant of Venice and loved the degree, but what honestly made him stand out changed into his allure. He had become a famous figure in New York's high society circles. Awesome guests at debutante events, together with his correct looks and smooth dance movements, his world modified within the 1920s. The Cuban sugar market collapsed, and the stock market crash of 1929 made things worse. His father refused to claim bankruptcy and instead used all his wealth to repay money owed. The existence of luxurious disappeared all at once. Romero had to locate paintings. He took a process at a Wall Street bank, but it didn't fit him. He had no passion for finance. He, once 15, admitted he could not see himself doing something out of doors of leisure. His appeal and right looks made him a herbal in shape for the stage. The banking task became only a brief prevent via 1927. He had already started out appearing as a ballroom dancer in New York City nightclubs that become the actual starting of his career. His massive wreck came from a sudden source. Elizabeth Higgins, a rich A, saw his capability, provided him a danger to shape a expert dance group. He had no formal schooling, but he had rhythm and self-belief that became sufficient universal. To provide soon, they were acting at top venues like the Montmartre Café and the Ambassador Roff. Their exercises featured the foxtrot and tango, two of the maximum popular dancers of the time. Their performances were not widely known to the general public, however. They made an influence on New York's elite. Higgins performed a key role in Romero's upward thrust. She helped him get observed. She additionally gave him the confidence to hold going. Their partnership lasted until 1929. When a damage forced them to forestall dancing, it turned into a setback, but it pushed Romero to take the subsequent step. He decided to cognizance on acting. His achievement, Cesar Romero, by no means dwindled from the spotlight even inside the overdue 1960s. Long after he had made his mark in Hollywood, he determined a new audience via Disney comedies. In 1969, he performed A.J. Arno within the laptop wore tennis footwear, a businessman secretly jogging an unlawful playing ring. The film have become a cult. Traditional and Romero's smooth yet villainous allure fit the role perfectly. He lower back as Arno in Now You See Him, Now You Do Not in 1972, and the strongest guy inside the International in 197.5 each. starring Kurt Russell as 23, 32. Dexter, Riley, those movies added Romero to a more youthful generation, proving that his charisma ought to win over any target audience while he got older. He kept operating in his 70s. He made guest appearances on some of the most popular TV indicates of the time. He played a suave artist in a fantastically filmed episode of Murder, She Wrote in 1985. In 1990, he seemed on The Golden Girls as Tony DeLeo Sophia's love hobby in a fan-favorite episode that showed he had misplaced none of his appeal. Those roles saved him in front of audiences who had 24-13 grown up watching him, making him a familiar and loved presence on display screen after more than 60 years in the enterprise. Romero retired from performing in 1990, but Hollywood by no means forgot him. He turned into Honored, with 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one for movie at 6615 Hollywood Boulevard, some other for television at 1719 Vine Street. He additionally received the Nosotros Golden Eagle Award, the Iman Hispanic Media Award for Lifetime Achievement, celebrating his effect on Latin illustration in Hollywood from the beginning of his career. 54, Romero had driven for higher roles for Latin actors, and within the early days he changed into regularly solid because the Latin lover, but he refused to be boxed in. He took on numerous roles that broke stereotypes, beginning doorways for future Latino actors like Anthony Quinn and Edward James Olmos. His fulfillment proved that Hollywood could not forget about talent, regardless of in which it got here from. In his later years, Cesar Romero settled into a quieter existence in Beverly Hills. He retired from appearing in 1990, but he wasn't the kind of individual to fade into the history. He located a brand new manner to stay related to Hollywood by using website hosting conventional movie packages on cable television. His deep understanding of movie and his signature allure made him an ideal healthy for the role. Even though he had stepped far away from performing, he nonetheless added antique Hollywood to existence for audiences who well known. His paintings, Romero's domestic, reflected his flavor for elegance. He was continually recognized for his impeccable style, and that failed to exchange with age. His cloth cabinet by myself changed into legendary 30 tuxedos, over 200 sports activities jackets, and 500 fits. He believed that dressing properly became a part of dwelling nicely. His love for refinement extended beyond style. He gathered traditional cars, filling his Beverly Hills property with symbols of technology when glamour certainly supposed something. Even in retirement, he remained socially active. He attended high-profile activities, always dressed to electrify, usually the middle of interest. His humorousness never faded. Well into his 80s, he joked, approximately dating younger ladies due to the fact the ones his age have been in cemeteries. That become Romero, sharp, witty, and constantly ready with a playful remark. His presence become magnetic, and those gravitated towards him anywhere he went. But there has been another aspect to him that many failed to see. Romero believed in giving back. He quietly devoted time to philanthropy, frequently spending Thanksgiving serving food to the homeless at the Los Angeles Mission. For all his love of luxury, he by no means forgot about those in need. It changed into a reminder that beneath the flawlessly tailor-made suits and the polished photograph, he changed into a person with a generous heart. His retirement may also have been free of scripts and cameras, however, it turned into a long way from dull. He located the appropriate stability, residing in style, staying socially engaged, and creating a difference in his personal way. Cesar Romero passed away on January 1st, 1994, on the age of 86. Headaches from bronchitis and pneumonia at the site of a blood clot caused his loss of life at St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica. It became the cease of a profession that spanned 6 decades, a profession that left a simple mark on Hollywood for many. He could continually be the Latin from Manhattan. He had performed the whole lot, from charming leading men to scene-stealing villains. His portrayal of the Joker in the 1960s Batman series changed into unforgettable. His theatrical lab, his over-the-pinnacle strength, his refusal to shave his mustache, even under the white face paint, he set the bar high for each actor who could take on the role after him. His funeral became private, attended best by means of close family and pals. His ashes had been interred at Inglewood Park Cemetery, located in a heart-formed N in the Mellum of the Golden West. It turned into a fitting tribute to a man whose lifestyles had, 59, been filled with music, laughter, and artistry, even now, many years after his passing. Cesar Romero's legacy lives on. He wasn't just a Hollywood megastar, he'd become a trailblazer, one of the maximum outstanding Latino actors of his time. He had acquired Severa awards, such as a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and his influence inside the enterprise remains undeniable. His passing on New Year's Day felt symbolic, just like the final oven technology, but what he left at the back of his appeal, his expertise, his simple presence guarantees that he will in no way be forgotten.